Hello everyone. Today we'll discuss about LR parser. As you know that LR parsers are classified into four types. That is LR0, SLR1, LALR1, CLR1. So you know that what is LR and LL stands for. That we have discussed already in the previous video. Here SLR, S stands for simple LR parser, and in LALR, L stands for look, A stands for ahead, that is look ahead LR parser, and in the last one C stands for canonical LR parser. So LR parsers are totally classified into four types: LR0, SLR1, LALR1, and CLR1. These types of LR are written in ascending order. Means so lower order is the LR. Means LR is the least powerful parser, and CLR is the most powerful parser. So now, in order to construct parsing table for LR0, SLR1, LLR, and CLR1, we need this diagram. So this is we can call it as a flow diagram or the structure of parser. So here LR in between I have written LR parsing algorithm. LR parsing. This parsing algorithm will be common for both either LL parser or LR parser. Okay, and even if you write here LL parsing algorithm, this LL parsing algorithm also requires input buffer, stack, and LL parsing table. Input buffer, stack, and parsing table. If you consider here LL parsing algorithm. Similarly for LR also requires the same input buffer, stack, and parsing table. So simply instead of writing LR, if I write LL here, it becomes a LL parsing algorithm. Then here also you have to change LL parsing table. So if you write LL, then it becomes the LL parsing structure. If I write LR, then it becomes LR parsing structure. So now, so here either LL or LR parser. So input buffer and stack will be common, and here LR parsing table, in parsing table it is going to change slightly. So for example, if you construct LR parser, LR parsing table, and this LR0 parsing table will not be same as will not be same for SLR1 and LLR1 and CLR1. So here to construct LR0, SLR1, LLR1, CLR1, most common is input buffer and the stack. Only the difference is in parsing table. There will be a slight difference between each other. So in order to construct parsing table for LR0 and SLR1, we require some canonical collection of LR0 item. Okay, to construct a parsing table for these two parsing type, that is LR0 and SLR1, it requires canonical collection of LR0 items. Similarly, to construct a parsing table for LALR and CLR, it requires canonical collection of LR1 items. For LR0 and SLR1, it requires LR0 items. For LALR and CLR1, it requires LR1 items. So now let us discuss what is canonical collection or items, all those things. So while constructing a LR0 parsing table. So to construct parsing table for the LR0, so I'll consider one simple example. So here I have considered one simple example, that is S implies A implies A, that is terminal A, and the variable A implies B, terminal. So here in this given grammar we have only two variables and two terminals. So when you are going to construct either LR0 or SLR1 or any other type of LR parser, we need to write first augmented grammar. What is that augmented grammar? So for the given grammar, I am going to add one more production, that is S implies S dash implies. So here in the right side body of the production of this newly introduced variable, it should contains or consist the start symbol S. It should contains the start symbol S. So here the newly introduced variable, this newly introduced variable can be anything. So here I have considered S dash, so that it is used to indicate again the start symbol. It is act as a new start symbol for the augmented grammar. S dash implies yes. So what this S contains? Again S contains this entire grammar. Okay, when you introduce a new production here, then this complete grammar becomes what? Augmented grammar. Augmented grammar. So from this augmented grammar, now we can write a canonical set of productions or canonical set of items. So what is that item here? So let me rewrite once again this grammar. That is S dash implies yes. Okay, S dash implies yes. So now in order to convert this production into item, I am going to just introduce dot in the right side body of the production, right? S dash implies dot yes. When I write dot in front of any symbol, that symbol can be a variable or a terminal. If the dot is present in front of the variable, then this variable has to introduce their respective production. It means this dot here act as a closer. This dot here act as a closer of. So here in this parenthesis we have to pass some symbol. We have to pass some symbol. That symbol can be a variable or it can be a terminal. So if it is symbol, it has to introduce the respective production. If it is a terminal here, you know that the terminal doesn't derive any production. Okay. So now the dot yes. Then yes. What is the yes production here? Yes production is in this given grammar. Yes production is yes implies AA. Yes implies AA. So now again you have to put this dot in front of this. So when you put dot, then it becomes an item. It becomes an item. Again the dot is present in front of the symbol and this symbol is a variable. Again it becomes a closer of. Closer of A, right? So here what symbol you have passed here? It is a variable. Then it has to introduce the respective production, right? A implies, take from here, A implies. A is deriving two productions. So right, A, and one more production is A implies B. Again you have to put dot here, right? A implies dot A. Again this dot is present in front of the symbol and this symbol is a terminal and terminal does not derive any production. So only this is the item, right? So now when you introduce a dot in front of the or a dot in the right side body of the production, then this becomes the canonical set of items. These productions, we call it as canonical set of items. Okay, so now I'll introduce this as one state and I'll name it this as I0. Okay, so now we are going to construct the transition diagram from this canonical set of items. Okay, so now when you are going to construct, so here the dot construct canonical set or a transition diagram, this dot it is going to see the next symbol, means dot will read the next symbol or dot will scan the next symbol. That symbol can be a variable or it can be a terminal. So first consider this production, that is S dash implies dot yes. So now this dot, after scanning this symbol, I'll take this as a transition input symbol. After seeing or scanning this, then it becomes S dash implies yes dot. So after seeing the dot, yes, the dot will reach at the end of this production. So now once the dot reach the end of that production, then this item we call it as final item. We call it as a final item because after this dot there is no symbol to be read or scan. Okay, so next consider the next production from the state I naught. So from here, so where the dot is present in front of this A. So now the dot is going to see this. After seeing this A, the dot will move towards one step towards right. So now after seeing that A, S implies A dot A. So now dot is moved one step towards right and the dot again present in front of this A, and again once this dot is present in front of this, then this becomes the closure of A. Again this closure of A, this A has to introduce the respective production. What is that? A implies AA and A implies B. Immediately you have to put dot here. Okay, so now the dot is present in front of the terminal A and the terminal B. So now there is no closure of variable to introduce productions. So now let us consider this as another state. Okay, so here we have considered this as I naught, and this I can name it as state I1, and this I can state or name it as this state I2. So next what? It is going to read one more input symbol. What is that input symbol? Is terminal A. After seeing that terminal A, this A will move, a dot will move towards right. Now the dot is present again in front of this A. Again that A is going to introduce the same production, that is directly I'll write A implies dot A and A implies dot B. Now name it this as state I3. So last production from the state I naught is, what is the input symbol here? B. So after seeing the B, dot will move at the end. So now no symbol to be scanned. So now again this act as a final item. Right? From the state I1, no input symbols are present in front of this dot, and in the state I4 also no input symbols are present in front of this dot. Okay, so that's why consider these two are the final items. And again these two, the state I2 and I3, still the dot has not reached at the end. Again we have to scan the input symbol. So now the dot is present in, after seeing that dot A, it becomes S implies AA dot. So now the dot has reached end. Once again this has become the final item because no input symbols are present in front of this dot to be scanned. Okay, and next still more, two productions are there and the dot still it has not reached the end. So now what? Now here in this production, after seeing the A, after seeing A, where the dot will be moved, will move to the in front of A. So I think after seeing this input symbol A, it is going to return the same set of productions. So that's why I can write, after seeing this input symbol A, it is going to reach the state I3. Okay, because it produces same set of productions. Similarly, after reading the input symbol B from this, it is going to produce the same production which is present in the state I4. So I can give it to I4 on input symbol B. On input symbol A from the state I2, on the input symbol A, there is a terminal A, it has moved to the state I3. Next, consider the state I3. So in the state I3 also the dot has not reached the end of that. So from the I3 state, after seeing this input symbol A, it produces A dot. So now here dot reach the final item. And again A, after seeing the A, it produces same set of, so I can give it self on input symbol A, and on input symbol B, I can give it to on B. So this is the complete final canonical set, final transition diagram. This final transition diagram contains the all canonical set of items. So from this transition diagram we can construct the transition parsing or transition table or LR parsing table that will be discussed in the next video.